So I am officially live. This is Barry Canada from Introverted Lifestyle, and this is the first episode of a relaunch of my old blog, Introverted Lifestyle. Now, up front, I will tell you right that this is mainly to get the content out. This is my first live stream ever in the history of live streams, and so I have my script over here. I'm going to read it. I'm going to tell you some things right. I will tell you that what's most important about this is not the production, but the content. Okay. And so that's what we're focused on in this first episode is getting this launched to introduce Introverted Lifestyle, to introduce myself, because that's who's going to be talking for the rest of this whenever. Okay. It's uncut, no edits. I'm just going to produce it, put out the information, and we go from there. And so this is me going from introverted to unintroverted. Okay. It's a journey, it's a process. Um, and I'm using this in order to help others out there who are very similar to myself, right? Who am I? I'm just someone trying to, navigate and find myself in a place in this world. And if you're like me, and hopefully you are, because this is mainly going to be for those who are introverted like myself, I want to help you to do the same thing, to find yourself a whole lot quicker than what it took me to get to this point in my life. I'm 53 years old, and it's taken me a very long time to get to today, okay? To get to the very first episode, to be able to get on camera and to be able to speak to people and share my experiences, and what I've been through life. Um, so I'm hoping that my experiences, right, will help you out there. I'm hoping that, some of this stuff that I'll share with you will make you laugh. Some of it like will make you understand, what you're missing out on in life when you don't take those steps to change what's going on, and to know that there is change. That it's possible. Okay, and so let's talk about my Myers-Briggs type indicator, MBTI, and I'll refer to it, multiple times throughout this episode and future episodes. I am INFJ. Okay. It's the rarest personality type. It makes up about 1 to 3% of the US population. So basically, I'm fucked, right? Because right now, I'm a very small population of persons out there who fall into this category. Not really. I mean, it is what it is. I've made it this far. I'm going to be okay. Okay. Because that's what this whole thing is about, is showing you, right, how I've gone from point A to point B, with point Z, and where I'm at today, and you'll be able to follow with me as we go through this process. Um, INFJs are described as introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging. And according to MBTI, INFJs are referred to as the advocate or the idealist. And I've heard some people also say the counselor. People like me, we often feel misunderstood. Okay. We're easygoing perfectionists. And this right here is vulnerability. Okay. Where normally I would not be on screen, I would be behind the screen. I have pictures going and everything, right? And I would just be telling a story and sharing information without you being able to see me. So that's my idea of being a perfection, right? Being a perfectionist, being able to put something together that's the production is much better than sometimes the content. But now there's a change here. So I'm live. Okay. I'm live. I'm vulnerable. I'm speaking from, who I am, the person I am, and my experiences. And so it's not as perfect and perfectionist, type as I normally am. We're logical and emotional. Okay. Creative and analytical. And then you add shyness to the mix, right? And you got something that's very difficult to navigate. Okay. And that's me. I'm INFJ, both shy and highly introverted. And so these are the type of things that make me really uncomfortable, right? But it's the journey, right? The change to make these things um, easier to deal with. And so here we are. Okay. Um, People like me are again misunderstood, right? And that's what we were talking about before. But when let me get to where I'm at here. Here it is. Again, we're live. And there's nobody here but me, and that's good, right? This will be the first episode. This is the one we use in order to go back and to get feedback on how where I started at and where I'm at the end. Once we get to a point where this is all fluid, it's all, I don't like to say scripted, right? But it's more, um, a scene after scene, a setup of more like a movie than just me sitting here in my house, just chilling, having the evening to myself. I should be drinking a beer right now, but I want to get this out, okay? But the whole idea of this, right, is that it's a journey, right? And if you have been like me, most of my life, shy, I miss out on a bunch of opportunities and things, right? Because I don't, take that step, where I'm trying to be away from people, right? Or don't want to be in those social environments and just kind of just hang out and play video games all day, right? You miss out on a lot of stuff in life, right? And you get to be where I'm at right now, 53 years old, and you're looking back and say, damn, I missed all that shit, and I could have had so much more fun. And then you have these relationships where you're divorced or separated, and all these people are nowhere here except for you. You're the only one here. I'm here by myself. Okay. And so this is really getting crazy now. But anyway, so when there's a will, there's a way, or when you finally decide that the absence of life is death, is when you decide to make change. Okay. I've gone through a lot in the last about 3-4 months now since I've been officially, I guess, separated. I've actually been separated from my wife since about September last year. That's when kind of the thing really started. But then the official, I guess, was not too long ago. So that's where I'm at. And I'm in this new place. And it's quiet in here. And it's something I got to get used to because, for about 30 years of my life, I've been with somebody, for relationship to relationship. I've just kind of always had somebody there. So this is all brand new to me. And this is why I'm kind of doing this thing right now, is because I need to chronicle the changes, that are taking place in my life and how those things affect me. And it's a lot of that has to do with the, being introverted and the shyness and all that stuff. Right. And so that's why, actually, I'll tell you why later, why this thing is even kicking off again. And I'm just going through some things right now, just running my mouth at this point. The purpose of this blog or podcast or whatever it becomes in the future is to show the transition. Okay. And I'm glad actually that this first one is just kind of just out there with all kinds of thoughts and mistakes and just me jibber jabbering. Right. At some point, I want this to be, more interactive and to have people participate. Right. And we can kind of answer questions and stuff in the chat, and people can share their stories. Right. I got hundreds and thousands and millions of stories. I write a lot. I have books that I've never published, and I have, blogs and blog posts that have probably never been read. I've written so much content, and so, but I've never did the work to make sure that stuff got out there because I really didn't want all the attention. But I did like the writing stuff. I like writing. And so that's why this script I have over here is like, it's well written, but the presentation, me trying to put it out, is really messing it all up. I write a lot, and that's what I just enjoy doing. The purpose of of this is to find other people out there like me, and kind of help you navigate this world again, and a lot sooner than what it's taken me. People who identify as introverts and who want to understand their role in relationships better, if that's you, this is for you. Those who have faced challenges in relationships due to personality traits, that's for you. Again, I have stories to share. I mean, Jesus, I have so many stories to share. Some funny, some disappointing, some probably make you cry, some of the things I've been through. But that's what this is all about. I want to share everything, transparent as can be. Individuals seeking personal growth and understanding of self in relationships. Hey, we'll talk about that as well. Um, the impact of being shy and introverted on relationships, sharing personal stories of my three divorces. It's actually two and about three quarters because we're separated and we're going through the process. So at some point that'll be three, and I hope there's no more, but who knows? Communication breakdowns, understanding and managing emotions, and how introversion played a role in all of those. Right. Again, we'll talk about that as well. Matter of fact, this is just the introduction to the actual podcast or blog. The actual content of the episode will be just here shortly. Missed opportunities of romantic and social scenarios due to shyness. The role of INFJs in relationships. Unique qualities of INFJ personality, strengths and challenges in relationships. Common misconceptions about INFJs. Steps towards change. Personal efforts and methods to overcome shyness. Engaging in group activities. Taking on challenges that push you out of your comfort zone, which is this right here. Seeking therapy and counseling, which I've done also in the past 4 months or so. How to recognize and address challenges in relationships, helps and tips for viewers, communication techniques, importance of self-awareness, balancing personal space and shared experience, engaging with you. Okay, Q&A sessions about relationships and introversion, sharing of stories. You can share your story. I'll share a bunch of mine. If you just want a good laugh, you can just tune in just for those. There's some very good ones there. Things that are just as unique as my personality type. A lot of things that happened to me, people are like, damn, dude, I mean, I can't believe that happened. It happened. Okay. And I'll share those stories as well. And then reflecting on the journey, encouraging others to embrace personality traits while seeking growth, right? Because that's important to know that, you may be a unicorn because we're 1 to 3% of people, right? But other folks are having the same type of issues, right? There's a bunch of us out there that are going through a lot of these things, right? So it's unique, but it's not so much. You're not the only one. You're not an alien. So we'll talk about some of those things. Sharing your experiences again, like commenting, subscribing, all that stuff will come later on down the road. This one right here again, it's just me having a conversation with myself because again, there's nobody down there in the chat but me. So why am I still nervous? I have no idea. But anyway, so this is where we're at. So with that said, let's move on to the current first episode. So this episode is dedicated to my daughter, my first daughter, Morgan, who after the things I've been going through for the last 3 or 4 months, right, and finally, being in a space, right, where I'm by myself. It's not it's totally by myself. It's a whole lot different than being by yourself when you have people around you. You just choose not to, engage in those in conversation or whatever. But it's different when you're here and it's quiet, and you can hear everything. The people above you, people to your sides, the wind blowing. You hear all those things. It's different. And so I love being alone, but I don't like being alone, if that makes sense. I like having the time to myself, right? But I don't really like empty spaces, right? And so this is it's new. And so she was telling me like, hey, it's time to find yourself. And so maybe you should revisit, a blog that you did before or some type of interest in things you have. Or something where you can share, your experiences. And there's nothing I know more of than what introversion has done to me. And I can share a lot of things in this manner. And so that's why I chose to go with this as opposed to starting a vlog or a podcast on something different that would require a bunch of research and all that stuff, right? This is this is all personal. It's all based on my experiences, right? And again, some of the stuff, will challenge your emotions, right? Especially if you've been through this, you'll really understand a lot of this that I'm talking. So it's a bit of therapy for me, and it may be the same for you, to listen and know that somebody else is or has gone through, some of the same things you're experiencing now or in the past. So, embracing my introversion, from relationships to revelations. All right. This is going to be on both, of course, YouTube, since it's a live stream, as well as there's the Facebook page, Introverted Lifestyle Facebook page that I started some years back. Even trying to revamp these old accounts, it took me like hours just to get to this video right here, because I was trying to find the old Twitter account, the old Facebook page, the Instagram, and so accounts were locked out. I couldn't find passwords, and so it took me a long time just to get to this point. But I told my daughter, because it's her birthday today, which is the reason why I'm doing it now. November 9th is her birthday. I'm in Korea, so the timestamp will probably show November the 10th, but it's the 9th for you guys. That's important to me because I told her I wanted to do it on her birthday, so it means something to me. Okay. It's, two things that I'm knocking out at the same time. Being able to thank her, for everything she's done since I've gone through this process I'm going through. But that for it to be on her birthday is kind of special to me as well. I told her that this morning. So, all right. So, this is going to be baby steps towards success, and what I deem success is being able to share, my stories with you guys, and vice versa. And if we both can come to that, type of relationship where we can speak, because we're introverts, it's a small category of us, right? There's we have communities out there, and I'm part of a lot of them, but we're quietly, as we are introverts, quietly in those spaces, right? We don't do a whole lot of this, especially if you're in the INFJ. This is like the last thing you want to do is to be on camera sharing, your stories and your vulnerabilities. And so that's success for me, is being able to do this right and to get something from it, and we'll see where we go as we go further down the road. I don't know how often I'm going to do this, right? Once a week, once a month. I don't know. I just know that I want to be able to do this and chronicle my change, especially being over here in Korea, and some of the experiences that I've had. Like, I've had more relationships in the last 4 months than I've had in my entire life. Okay. Um, yeah, just in this last 4 months. Uh, some of them did not end very well. um, and so those are some stories I definitely want to share with you, right? Because this is being over in Korea is it's a different environment, and you'll get to see it. All right, so I'm Barry. If you didn't know, I got this far without telling you. I don't know if I probably did. We're like 18 minutes into the video. I'm Barry. I'm known as introvert Barry on a lot of my social profiles. Um, I am INFJ. I'm going to deep dive into how introversion has shaped my relationships, leading to moments of introspection, growth, and yes, 3 divorces, or we just counted 2 3/4 divorces. To understand my story, it's important to first grasp what is introversion, and it isn't about being shy or reserved. It's how we recharge. It's how we process information and interact with the world. According to Psychology Today, and I'll link this. Hopefully, I remember in the description there. Introversion is a basic personality style characterized by a preference for the inner life of the mind over the outer world of other people. Okay. One of the big 5 dimensions that define all personalities, introversion sits on the continuum, at the opposite end of which is extroversion. Opposite of extroversion or introversion is extroversion, right? Introverts versus extroverts. You'll see that all the time. Compared to extroverts, introverts enjoy subdued and solitary experiences. Um, that again, right? For me, I mean, I like being alone. I'm an introvert. At the same time, I don't like when there's no one around. So we prefer like smaller groups of people versus, the big bashes, the big social events, right? The center stage events where, people are going crazy and all this, uh, getting all kinds of attention. That only happens when I'm drunk. So when I'm drunk, even then, I'm still not going to get too crazy, but I am a little bit more extroverted, and that's just the natural way alcohol works, right? Now, this is the key. Introverts do not fear or dislike others, and they're not neither shy nor plagued by loneliness. A crowded cocktail party may be a torture for introverts, but they enjoy one-on-one engagements in calm environments, which is more suited to the makeup of the nervous system. Evidence suggests that, unlike, and this is still from Psychology Today, evidence suggests that, unlike with extroverts, the brains of introverts do not react strongly to viewing novel human faces. In such situations, they produce less dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with reward. Um, and then when you do add shyness to the mix, right, you're at the very edge, that 1 to 3%, right? I mean, again, you're dealing with somebody, right, who um, not only is unable to really to appreciate or be in an environment where there's so many people around you. This the last thing you want to do is be in those places, in those spaces, and being crowded and feel like people are all over you. And this person's looking at you, and that person's looking at you, and when nobody's looking at you, and when you come to find out later. But um, it's difficult for introverts to be in those situations. Some people, they have panic attacks, and it gets to the extreme. But when you're shy and you add that to it, right, it really makes life challenging, right? And that's how it's been for me for majority of my life. Um, my relationships, right, over the years. My introverted nature has played a significant role in my relationships. Um, uh, which one do I want to share? So there's been, I mean, in every relationship, it's been something different, right? Or in each one of these marriages here. Excuse me, my nose was kind of stuffy too. But like my first marriage, where I think a lot of that was I was young, and I didn't really understand, marriage at all, right? I just knew that I was in the military. I was living in the barracks, and I met this woman, and she gave me a meal. She fed me, and I was like, "Damn, this is good, right?" Uh, you know, I remember the first meal, right? It was a steak. She cooked me a steak, and there were some string beans, and some macaroni and cheese, right? Some cornbread or something, right? I was like, "Damn, I like to get this every day, right?" And so that's how I ended up married. It was that I was like, I'm living in the barracks, I'm eating uh, what is it, Pizza Hut pizza every day because that's what I used to order. I eat in my room. A lot of these things, like you says, may sound weird, but that's what we do, right? I used to order the same meal every day, Pizza Hut, delivered to my room, right? Two medium pizzas, right? And that was me. While other folks were going to the DFAC, I didn't like going to the DFAC. I didn't like a lot of people around me, right? I don't want to, especially if I was going by myself. Um, if I went with some of my, some of my partners or whatever, then it's still a bit different. But if I had to go by myself, then I wasn't going. And so I would order my pizza and I would sit there and I would eat, right? And again, when I met her, which is again by accident because I was drunk. And when I'm drunk, that's when I meet people most of the time, or used to. And kind of same, kind of more back then when I was drunk. I met more people that way than I kind of am doing now with my little transition. So I got the meal out of it, right? And that was kind of that marriage. And then once that one was over, the second one I thought I was in love with. At least I was trying to change because I was out there drinking a lot and I was in the bars and stuff all the time, right? Um, and I felt like there was like some type of command telling me like, hey, change your ways, right? So I met this woman and I thought, okay, things didn't happen with her like what happened with other people I've met. So I was thinking, okay, maybe this is what it's supposed to be like. And then that was 6 years of misery. It turned out to be. And there's a story behind that one too. That's harder to share, but I think I still might do it anyway at some point down the road in one of these episodes. Right, I'll share you with you something that you know most people would say is stupid. Okay, and 6 years of BS. Then the last one just started out bad. I mean, the current one just started out bad because of the previous relationship, and never really. We never. I don't think we didn't have a chance. It was doomed from the beginning. Um, and I was my personality type introverted, her personality type extroverted. It's just extremely extroverted, extremely confident with herself. Used to sing on stages and stuff, right? So she has a talent, and more more of a dominant type personality. And so it was kind of like when you're dealing with somebody who wants to be quiet, you're dealing with somebody who's not so quiet. It just doesn't, for me, just didn't work out that way. And it's nothing against her. I have a lot of things that I've already accepted fault for because I never should have. I never should have actually got into that relationship, right? Or never should have let it go that far, because there's a lot of things I didn't want to do. Hey, let's go to the park. Oh, you got to go to the park, right? Now I'll complain about it just like a little kid, right? Because I don't want to go, and then I'll eventually go. But then at that point, she's already pissed off, and so it's kind of like those are things that were just they were it just and we even had kids. We had two kids through that process, and my stepson, who was my boy. So we had kids together. We stayed in that marriage, but as far as like she and I, we just clashed all the time. I think sometimes even just talking to each other, right, just pisses us off, right? So we just kind of, it is what it is. And again, that's nothing against her. I accept responsibility for all these relationships, and a lot of these again have to do with just not. They have to do with my personality, okay. And so while I'm sharing this, I actually have someone I'm dating right now, and it's probably hope she doesn't see this actually right now because don't want to scare people away, right? So it is what it is, right? Here it is. All right, so let's see, where am I at? See where we want to get to. One thing I wrote down on here is like, I spent a lot of my time in relationships trying to get out of relationships, right? I'll get into something, right? And then it's like, I realize there's responsibilities and requirements and things I'm supposed to do in this relationship. I'm like, is it worth it, right? And so I spent a lot of time just trying to. It's those first few days and weeks and months, right, when things are just great and lovely, right, and then you're like, damn, now I got to do stuff, and I got to buy things, and that means I got to go out there, I got to go somewhere, and it's just crazy, right? So you just, I spend a lot of my time trying to get out of relationships. In the past, right? I want to make sure I say in the past, because again, turning over a new leaf, learning some things, had therapy, have gone through a lot of tears and stuff, especially with my ex-wife. Sat down and as I apologized to her for what's going on, pretty much wasting her her good years, I guess. But she's happy now. That's good. She's happy. I'm happy for her. And here I am moving forward in my life. And making the necessary changes in order to make sure that that my future is a whole lot brighter and better than my past. So, and a lot of this stuff also, like when I'm in those relationships, like I spend a lot of time trying to get out of relationships because a lot of times I sit back, not only the work but also thinking about like, why is this person with me anyway? Why does she like me? I have no idea why. Then I'll make up stuff in my head and I'll find ways to to not believe that any of the relationships and things are true. Because people are terrible people, right? And so that's what we do. We make up stuff. We overthink. We create, stories in our head, and then we act off of those stories. And that's it's life. This is what it is when you're like me, I guess. Again, if that's not you, then it's definitely me. I've had missed opportunities, right? And I know one for certain, one that I can remember, at least vaguely enough to share is again, this was another one of those. I was in Korea, 1995, 1995, 1996, and me and my partner were out at a club, right? And we were in there, right? The music's playing, right? Dim lights, stuff you're in a club scenery. And a lady comes up to me, right, and asks me to dance. Very beautiful woman. I can remember all this, right? And I was like, no. I was afraid as hell to get out there and dance, right? Nope, no, no. But instead of walking off or whatever, she stayed there and she kept talking, right? So she's talking to me and everything, and she's saying stuff, and I'm just, trying to, I don't know what's going on. Like, what the hell, why would this woman be over here talking to me? And she was. Maybe she was just as drunk as I was getting. And so eventually, and then she left. She walked off, right? And my partner was telling me, like, man, what is wrong with you, right? She's all into you and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, really? Like a dummy, right? I was like, really? I just thought I don't know what she's here for. I mean, I didn't want to dance with her. Normally you tell somebody you don't want to dance, they leave right away, or may say something as they're walking away, like, fuck you too, But at this time she stayed and she kind of had a conversation, and I don't remember enough detail to tell you what that was all about. I just know that I remember that it was an experience that and I've seen more than once, right? When I've had somebody want to talk to me or whatever, right? And I don't realize that they're flirting or something, right? And people have to remind me or tell me, like, hey, dude, that person's flirting with you. Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. So those kind of like some of the missed opportunities, and just opportunities when you see somebody you like, right, and then you don't approach them. I've had a lot of those, right? Um, where I've wanted to talk to this. I've told my therapist about one particular one where this girl, I would see her all the time, every morning she speaks, hey, good morning, good morning. Uh, and I would just kind of see her all the time, like want to engage and conversate, but the mind, doesn't allow you to do it. So I remember some of those opportunities, right? And then you find out later down the road, some years later, you may run into somebody like, yeah, I tried to talk to you before, and you just wouldn't talk. They were kind of stuck up or whatever, right? It's like that's usually what we get called, is stuck up, when you're introverted and introverted, and you just don't realize, or you just don't have the ability to be able to talk to people, right? And they label you then either as weird or as stuck up, a narcissist, all kinds of things, right? We get labeled because of the type of personality we have. So this here, excuse me, is about change. Okay. It's about change. It's about going from what I was to who I want to be. And I'm never going to be, one of those guys that is 100%, extroverted and have all that energy and stuff. Not sober anyway. But I do have the ability to enjoy my life a lot more. Okay. And that's some of the things I've learned, again, in the last 4 months. I've had so many relationships in the last 4 months, more than I've had in my entire life. And yes, that's no longer a secret. It's out there. But I had quite a few relationships. And that's just getting into the game, right? Getting into the game, realizing that, some people are going to say no. Some people, you might be with them a couple of days and then they turn on you. I have one in particular. I think I want to mention her name. I think I want to name an episode after her, because what she did was like really, really dirty. And yeah, she's going to have an episode named after her. It may be coming up in the next one for all I know. But I want to share that name. I want to tell that story because, I mean, even to this day, I can't get over that one. But so there's been quite a few relationships, and now there's another, at least one relationship right now. Um, and I got to say that because I got to protect myself at this point. So there's at least one. There is one relationship right now, um, and you probably will not see this video anytime soon, which is a good thing because then you won't know who you are. I do. All right. Uh, so going forward, right? It's a struggle. It's a challenge, right? To be able to um, change, something that you've been doing for your entire life, pretty much, right? Um, that I can remember being in like first grade, sitting there and liking, a classmate or something, right? Sharing, it was one of my. Uh, I'm gonna come back to that one. I'm gonna come back to that one because there's something unique about that. But like in first grade, people that I went to school with, and not being able to speak with them, missed opportunities, um, and so it's a change here. What I will tell you also is that um, you we compare ourselves, right? And we kind of, once we understand who we are, we kind of say, okay, well, we put ourselves in this little group of people or category, right? Say 1 to 10, say, okay, I'm a 5, right? And then you start looking at other people like, okay, if that person is a 5 or below, then you can talk to them right up there above. And so this is a thing that is kind of well, we all do. I think we all do this, right? And I know I do it more probably than most people. So I like look at a person like, okay, that person is totally out of my league, right? Ain't no chance at all. I need to be going over there and getting turned away by someone who's probably going to look at me and say, "Who the what? Why?" And so we put ourselves in those categories, right? But then I've seen some people, right? And I'm like, how did that dude get her, right? And that's where you start realizing that those categories and things, right? They don't apply for those who are confident enough in themselves to be able to approach those folks. And I know a lot of people, right, just because they were funny, they're able to get girls and stuff, right? And so those are some of the things that you learn, right? And my wife's beautiful. So the women I've been seeing, uh, most of them are pretty decent. Uh, and so, again, you learn these things over time, right? And realize what you could have had before, because at 53, you're dating and you're on these apps, and I'm on the apps. There's my phone at. There's my phone. I'm on the apps, right? And I remember the first time I signed up on one of these apps, and I built this beautiful profile, put all these wonderful words in there, right? Got the best pictures I own, put them in there, right? And then the first people that pop up in there, right, are like 60 and 70 years old. I'm like, what the hell? You know, and so I mean, it's when you get 53, you're not 33. Okay, so not like what I used to be. I had more opportunities, I think, when I was 33. Not that I think, I know I had more opportunities back then that I gave up or didn't pursue than I do now. And so you start realizing that, hey, you either do it now, um, or otherwise, you get to where you're at right now. And I'm meeting women that are in their early 30s, and I actually dated a girl who was 22 years old, 22 years old, um, in the last 4 months, right? And she was hot. I'm just gonna tell you. And but I didn't. I was like, that's too young. I said, way too young. I just it didn't feel right to me because then I'm thinking, right, if I did date this girl or marry this girl, or it became a real serious relationship, that um I would have to deal with other people who are looking at me saying the same thing that I say, like, how did he get her, right? Or maybe she turned out to be freaking evil, man, and she wants to cheat with everybody, in the city. So I don't know. It's just this things they go through your mind, right? So there's so many things to worry about and concerned about. And then the fact that, like, hey, I'm 53, right? You're 20 something, I mean, 22 years old, right? Um, Probably want kids and stuff, right? I don't want any more kids because I don't want to be 70 years old. You know, a kid want to go play some ball or something. Like, dude, man, got my cane and my wheelchair and my oxygen tanks and stuff going on, right? So I can't play no ball with you, you know? And then, of course, the death part of it, right? You know, kids got to go, you know, all their life. You know, like, oh, my dad died when I was 2. I don't remember him, you know, so I don't want none of that stuff either, right? So kind of done with kids unless, again, unless an accident. You know, accident could happen, but, you know, like me, like once I'm with somebody, like committed relationship. But not intentionally, won't happen. Yep, I can still produce babies. My dad did until he was, I think, freaking in his 60s or whatever, right? He still had kids. And I have brothers right now who are younger, way younger than I am. So that is not an issue. So one thing I've done since in the last about 4 months or so, I've developed the ability to curse, right? So I have shit is now my favorite word. And I say it a lot now. I said fuck already. I don't like that word. That's kind of like been the worst word I've ever used. But I think the change in the way I speak out loud and talk to people right, and some of these words have developed and have come out right. I think in the past, I used to think that when you curse, it showed a lack of intelligence, right? Not very smart. If you got to keep, if every other word you say is a curse word. And so I bought into what society says that means. But now I don't care. I just say shit. I say shit all the time. Shit is my favorite word. You know, I just shit all day long. Pardon my French, but that's my favorite word. I just want to make sure you understand that. I'll say it a lot in this podcast going forward. Shit, 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 shit. And you'll hear it. You know, enjoy it every minute of saying shit. It also shows you're grown, I think, too. I think that's what I believe. This is going to be engaging, right? If you just want to, again, if you just want to tune in and hear somebody talk about some shit, right? That's fucked up, because that's what a lot of this stuff that I'll be talking about is. Then that's enough for you to tune in, right? Because I got some stories, right, and they're all fucked up. You know, most of them are 99% fucked up, and that guess is my second favorite curse word is fuck now, and I don't really use that word. I've never used that word. I've always thought that word used to make me cringe. Every time I hear somebody say fuck, I'm like my wife, she used to say it all the time. Fuck you. I'm like, shit, that hurts. But now we're grown people now, right? We're grown people. You know, it took us 53 years to get grown and to accept these words. And I still won't use them too often, but shit and shit all the time. So I think I'm kind of, I went off script. I was going to read this whole entire script, you know, and it would have been a whole lot cleaner because I put a lot of work into writing this stuff, right? But I just kind of like, I can't see, first of all. My glasses are all dirty and stuff, right? So I can't see this shit. But we're at 43 minutes. 43 minutes. It's still going? Yeah, 43 minutes. Yeah, 43:30. And again, this is my first live ever in the history of lives. And I've screwed it up. It's screwed up. You know, there's a lot of stuff in here. I'm not even editing anything. That's work. I don't want to do that extra work. Not now anyway, because right now, I want to have something I can use as an example. Say, hey, this was me the first time I went on a live. And I was shitty. I hope you didn't hear that. That was my stomach growling. Oh, by the way, this right here, I gotta back up. Here, right? These pants are size 38, right? I've been through a lot in the last few months, right? I was wearing 42s and getting ready to go up another size, right? So in the last, since September, I got sick on my birthday. September 6th of this year, I got sick. And freaking, I don't know what I had, man. I probably was COVID. No, who knows? And I thought I was going to die, right? I was in bed for about 2 or 3 days, right? I didn't eat, couldn't eat anything. And then I remained sick for about another 3 weeks, right? So I was like, for almost over 3 weeks, for about a month, I was just sick. And as I was sick, I was taking in a meal a day for most days. And the weight just came off, right? And I look at it, so I like it, right? I'd lost like 30 pounds, 20 pounds initially, like in the first month. That was in September. I'm now, if I hop on a scale, I think for the first time, I think I'm under 200 pounds at this point. A lot of it came from within my legs and stuff, right? Still got the little pouch in my stomach I need to get rid of with a little exercise, right? But it's kind of been something I've maintained. Probably unhealthy what I'm doing right now. Not probably, it is unhealthy what I'm doing right now. But I kind of like this. I like the look. I'm fitting in these pants. I haven't worn these pants since I don't know why I still have them. But they're size 38 and they're loose. And I'm happy about the looseness. And so a lot of my pictures, if you look at my pictures that I have out there, right, face is a little bit more chubbier than it is right now. Even lost weight in my head because my hat is so loose now. But I'm happy with that transformation. But again, just trying to put on some muscle though. Got to put on some muscle. Got to get stronger because that's what happens when you lose all that weight, right? You lose a lot of the muscle, and so I need to put on get into a strength training. But then it requires me to go into a gym, which then requires people to look at me, and we don't want that, do we? No, I can do that now. On the 7th floor, I got a gym. I got a picture I'll show you guys. I'm now at the Capitolium. That's where I live at now, in this studio-like apartment. Small enough, right, where doesn't require a whole lot of cleaning, and where the noises are not so prevalent in here, right? So you can hear stuff, especially when the wind blows. When the storm was here a few days ago. My stomach is still growling. So but I'll probably do a tour one day. Just kind of show you what I'm living in. This right here used to be in my bedroom, in my computer. And I was sitting on my bed doing work. And then when I was trying to get this set up, I said, man, why don't I move it out here, right? I'm the only one here, right? Nobody else is here. So not like I need this whole entire counter. This is actually a better place for it. And I think I might leave it here. And you can't see any of this that I'm talking about because I'm looking at my screen unless I don't know how much you can see. If you can just see me or you can see below. I've never done this before, so I have no idea. But hopefully, I'm hoping that by the time I get done with this, that this thing didn't just die on me, right? Because that would be pretty freaking pathetic, and that would be the loser me, wouldn't it? If this was like just didn't even record and like there's no sound or something, right? That'd be pretty depressing, right? But it's okay. I would just do it all over again. So this is me. This is the transformation. This is my glasses. I like my Pradas. These are Pradas. These are expensive. Of course, the insurance paid for most of that. And I think I'm just going to start getting on and just talking right now, just talking, just saying shit that don't make sense, or I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I want to have I want to do a podcast. I like podcasts because podcasts is just speaking to the mic, right? And I can actually read my shit, and I can edit, the ums and the rights. I used to say right a lot. I'm not sure if I said it in this or not. There's again. There's about 100 million ums in this particular segment or this episode here. Some of it is due to my throat. And this others is just filler words, and so that's what we do. So, are we done here? Any questions from the guests? Hell no, because ain't nobody there. How do you know if somebody's here? If somebody was here, I guess somebody would show up, wouldn't they? I don't know. Oh, there's like a person there, a like or something. Um, I'm excited about this. I'm excited about watching the transformation. I'm excited about the engagement. I'm excited about sharing stories, really, because again, I've written books. I've got stuff on my computer right now. I've written books and things, right, that I haven't released, I haven't published, or I go back and I re-edit and and I don't know. I waste a lot of time on stuff. I write a lot. I write a whole lot. I write more than I should write. Uh, I've had people break up with me because I write too much. I'm like when I'm texting or chatting with them, and my wife actually told me before when I was talking to some girl, she's like, "Who's going to read all that?" And so I have a lot on my mind. I have a lot on my mind, and most of it comes out through text. I can chat with the best of them. I'm a chat master, right? I'm like, freaking put me in a match, and I will win every single time when we're going down the texting. That's what I do. I used to be a teletypist when I was in the military when my first 4 years, and so I was used to type and stuff. Um, and I think the other part of it is the personality. I think most introverts have something to say, right? Um, but since we're always alone, I mean, who are we going to tell? And so put pen to paper. I was a blogger. I blogged a lot. I wrote stuff on my own. Um, a lot of it, just getting things out of your head, talking about something that interests you, something that you want to share with people. And I've written many blogs, and I'm like, a lot of times, because I don't think I wanted people to really to read, because then I would have to engage with them. So I would write these blogs and stuff, right? And I would tell myself that putting it out there because I want to speak with people and whatever. But then it's like, I don't really want to do that. I just want to put the content out. I don't really want to deal with people, right? Why would I want to do that? That's a headache, right? And it'll keep me from doing more blogs or other stuff that I enjoy, like World of Warcraft, right? I can be playing a game over here instead of trying to respond to somebody's comments and stuff. But I've actually, I've been a gamer all my life until this stuff started to happen until it really got ugly. It really got ugly. When you start doing the divorce part of this process, right? And everybody's, this person wants that, you don't want to give that. And it gets messy, it gets really ugly, right? Divorce is ugly. I know I've been through a few of them, and this one was uglier than the other two, because I think I had more control of those two, because those two were really not. They weren't really my fault, in a sense that they were my fault because of my personality, but it wasn't really my fault. I don't know. I can't explain that. But this one, there's some give and take, and there's 12 years of 12 years of a relationship, and there's kids involved, that are my kids, um, to include my I'm sorry, it's popping up on my phone, to include my stepson, and that's my boy. I've raised that dude since he was 2 years old, and I have a great relationship with him, and all of that is sad. It's disappointing, because I think we always knew we were going to get divorced, but we were just kind of like, we'll just wait till the kids are gone, right? Till they go to college or whatever. Um, but then, that's not fair to anybody, really. I mean, not even to the kids, because if there's still going to be fights and arguments and things going on, right, then there's toxicity in the house, right? They have to listen to this. Mom say this, dad said that. It's really not fair to them anyway. And it's probably not probably, it is better to just go ahead and move on than it is to continue that and wait another 4 years or wait another 8 years, and just time goes by and freaking be dead by the time it ends. Because I have this notion, right? I have this timeline in my head, right, that I probably shouldn't be sharing right now, because then my family, I think 70 is kind of 70 to 75 is kind of the number, right? And so when you started thinking about that number, and you wonder if you can eclipse it, but you're looking at the averages. On average, 70, 73. My brother passed away a couple of years ago, almost a couple of years. He was just a year older than me. So it's kind of, you start thinking about those things, right? And that's also like this right here. It's like, what the hell, man? I'm freaking gonna die someday here, and not be able to share, all my experiences and things, right? And at this point, you get into your 50s, right? And you're like, who cares anyway what other people think? I remember I was telling my daughter about, and I'm all over the place right now. I was telling my daughter about I did a blog. It was a video, and I was trying to make comments on that video that we're watching. It was like a motivational video from somebody from, I don't know, what's that guy's name? As a Man Thinketh or something like that, right? And I was making comments, right? And thinking I was, being educational and providing, some insight on what he was saying and what this means to you and how you can have everything you want in life, right? And and I was just rambling. I was going off like I'm doing right now, right? And this girl in the chat window said, "Will somebody tell this old man to shut up?" or something like that. She said, right? I'm like, that shit hurt, man. Shit hurt back then. It don't hurt now, but it hurt back then. I was like, I still remember it. I almost have a face of this girl. I mean, I don't know if she had it. I probably looked at her face, but I was like, she's in my head right now. But I was like, it was like of the 5 or 6 comments in there, right? That was her. Other people, they try to be nice and encourage you, because they know what you're going through, right? This is not something you're comfortable with. This is not something you do every day. I'm not freaking, some trained, anchor person, right? Oh, that's what I wanted to do when I started, came into the military. I wanted to be on television. I don't know why, because I was never gonna. I don't know. I wanted to. But yeah, but that bothered me. That bothered me back then. But see now, 50 years old, I don't give a shit about the comments in there anymore. Half of them I won't read anyway. If there are, not this one, but future ones, or even this one, because this is eventually going to be out there and somebody's going to see it. And I'll laugh about it, actually, because the whole idea is to be vulnerable. The whole idea, it's all about the content, right? And that I'm able to engage with people and share stuff. If I just come on and just tell you a story and end the podcast, that's the content for that day. And hopefully it's helpful. And I know it will be, because there are people just like me who are going through what I've gone through and some of the things I'm still dealing with right now. And it's good for them or you to know you're not alone. And I almost want to sing Michael Jackson, but I'm not, because I'm going to keep on professionalism, right? Yeah. So, okay, my daughter's not going to watch a whole hour of this stuff, right? She might have to fast forward or something. This is for her. This is actually for her. And it's for anybody else out there, right, who wants to join and come see what's going on and watch this thing grow, because it will. It's going to grow. I'll get funnier. I'll get, more organized. There'll be some production stuff maybe done. I don't know. This is just the beginning. This is episode number 1, baby. Number 1. And I'm not going to stop until I've said everything I need to say. I got a lot to say. I got a lot to share. And with that, I think it's a good time for me to close finally, because the last probably 20 minutes of this, you're probably like, well, that old man just shut up. And I'm going to hate you. I didn't hate her. I didn't hate her, but she shouldn't have said that. That was not very nice. Be nice to old people. And I wasn't that old then. That was, when was that? Wasn't that old. I was in my 40s, 30s, late 30s, 40s. I don't know what it was. Anyway, I want to kind of end this right at the 60-minute mark. And we're almost there. And I get to play this back and see what I think about it, right? And laugh at myself for a moment. Because this is what we do. We just do it. So anyway, my name is Barry Canada, if you want to look me up. And Introverted Lifestyle Facebook page. Introvert Barry on Instagram and Twitter. I can't even log into my Twitter. Shit. Instagram, Twitter, what else? That's about it. The website, I have the domain, but I don't have hosting right now because I just kept my domain because I wanted to keep that. But pretty soon it'll probably show up there too. So I'm getting out of here. You people, keep it real. Check back in later. Subscribe now because this shit's going to get better, man. It's going to get better. All right. Because I just don't care. I'm just going to get on here. I'm not going to do all that production stuff like people, the lights and all that stuff. Right. I'm in this little tiny house, which is like it's like a studio anyway. Well, it is a studio. So it's perfect for podcasts and stuff. And I'm just going to do this thing. All right. I'm out of here. Peace, love, and chicken blood. I don't know what that means, but all right, later. Bye. Yeah, your stream will stop immediately and you will no longer be live. Yes, end.